Okay, we're ready to get started. Welcome to the June 8th regular council meeting for the City of Dauphin. We'll call the meeting to order at 5:02 p.m. We acknowledge that the land on which we gather is Treaty 2 land known as First Nations territory, homeland of the Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, and Métis Nation. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Loughlin. Be it resolved that Council accepts the regular agenda as presented. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Loughlin, seconded by Councillor Eilers. Be it resolved that Council waives the reading and accepts and approves as circulated the minutes of the following meeting. The regular Council meeting for May 25th, 2020. Any questions? Call for questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Eilers. Whereas the Municipal Act states, Section 160, Sub 2 states, each member of the council must attend the public hearing unless the member is excused by other members from attending the hearing, is unable to attend owing to illness, or is required under the Municipal Council Conflict of Interest Act to withdraw from the hearing. Be it resolved that Council excuses the following council member from the June 8th, 2020 public hearing, that being Mayor Doham. Any questions? Call for questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Just want to welcome everybody to our council meeting, and a reminder that this is the first time we've done a hybrid meeting. So we've got some people on Teams. We've got Councillor Stakilo and Councillor Juba on Teams calling in virtually on the internet, and we have Councillor Loughlin, Councillor Eilers, myself, and Councillor Bellemare here at City Hall. So if just a reminder to everybody who is in chambers, if you're wanting to speak, to please turn your microphone on and speak clearly so that we can hear everybody. And thank you everyone for your patience. We'll hope this goes as planned. Council will now commence to hear representation from Council. Oh yeah, sorry. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Councillor Juba. Be it resolved that Council now adjourns to hear the public hearing as scheduled. Any questions? Okay. Okay, all in favor? Motion carried. So Council will now commence to hear representations from the applicant and any other persons who wish to make representation for this scheduled public hearing. If anyone has not yet registered for the public hearing and would like to speak during the hearing, please state your name so we can be sure to include you in the proceedings. Ms. Cadet, has everyone registered?
I provided the list of everyone who is in attendance.
Okay, and everyone's online? Okay. Okay, we will now proceed with the public hearing for variance application 12.06.273600/variation order -20-01/03 for owner and applicant Dauphin Church of Christ 2004 Incorporated, care of Richard Kirkpatrick for Lot 2, Plan 42800 DLTO, which is 220 Whitmore Avenue West, known as Parkland Crossing, to vary the front yard setback from 7.5 meters, which is 24.6 feet, to 2.0 meters, which is 6.5 feet, to allow for the construction of 2 single-story, 2,520 square feet, 1-bedroom units, and 4 single-story, 3,200 foot square, 2-bedroom units in an institutional zone to comply with the City of Dauphin zoning bylaw. Just a reminder that the issue before council is the variance that we're discussing from the 24.6 feet to the 6.5 feet. The issue of the housing development being classified as an institution is not the focus of this hearing. Would the applicant like to speak in favor of the application?
Sure. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Wayne Olson and representing the Dauphin Church of Christ, Parkland Crossing. The reason why we are asking for the variance for the buildings that we want to build there is to provide green space in the middle of the units that we want to build, so that any of the parents or may have single parents with kids, that the kids can play in the green space in front of the units. If we and we can build in that zoning of 7.5 meters, but it reduces the green space from in front of the units to way down by the road. And we do not want the kids or children playing out close to the road. We think that would be not as safe as having the little green space between the buildings and in front of the buildings, so that there is more green space for them to play.
Is there anything else, Wayne?
I think that was our main reason for the variance. As I say, it is just to provide more green space in the unit and more safety for the kids that may be there, so they have a place to play.
Okay,
yes.
Thank you. Does council have any questions of the applicant for clarification purposes only? Is there any other person present in support of this application who wishes to speak? Anyone online or on the phone that would like to speak? Okay, seeing none, council would like to acknowledge that they have received a petition.
I'm sorry, it's Karen Cooley calling.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm just wondering, with the difference between 24 feet and 6 feet, is it just because it's institutional that the council would consider, rewarding this, or would a residential person be able to do the same thing?
Okay, thank you for your question. I'll defer that to the city manager.
Thank you, Ms. Cooley. An application can be made from any property to move it closer to a property line, whether it be the front property line, side, back, things like that. So council does field requests like this.
Okay, because 6 feet away from the road is not very far. That's my only concern.
Okay, thank you for your comment. So council would like to acknowledge that they have received a petition with 19 signatures representing 12 properties and 1 written letter in objection to the variance order. So is there any person present who wishes to speak in objection to this application?
Can I just address that, what was Karen Cooley was saying, Deputy Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
I was just going to say that 6 feet is not from the road. It would be from the property line, right? It's not from the road because, or from the road because 6 feet would be in the middle of the sidewalk. And we are not building way back there. We are building on the property, the 6 feet.
Okay, thank you for that. Is there anyone else who wishes to make a presentation on this application?
It is Val Rizek. May I speak?
Yes, go ahead, Val.
Okay. My name is Val Rizek. I'm a retired teacher, and we have owned our house in this area for 40 years. Before I start, I would like to say, as a longtime neighborhood resident, I have seen and accepted many changes in this area. I don't naturally like or seek conflict, but this area is one that I felt the need to speak up on. My neighborhood owners have also signed the petition, and I would like to read the petition now, if I may, unless everybody has a copy of it.
No, go ahead and read it, Val.
Okay. It says, we, the undersigned homeowners who own property with 100 meters of 220 Whitmore Avenue West, oppose the application for a variance order to reduce the front yard area from 24.6 feet to 6.5 feet. The variance change for minimal frontage should not be granted because even though the units are to be built on an institutional area, they are in fact residential dwellings, and the bylaw that other residential dwellings adhere to should be looked at as a guideline to follow. A large housing unit allowed to be constructed too close to the street will only set precedents for other large institutions to apply for frontal variances to be reduced. A 6.5-foot frontage area will greatly change neighborhood livability. No other dwellings in the neighborhood are rightly allowed to be constructed with so little frontage. The change would not only be visually unappealing, but could provide problems like hampering snow removal, increasing refuse and dirt on the street, and may hinder traffic visibility and cause parking issues. The 24 dwelling units proposed to be built will also increase the population, an already dense population that is related to that institutional property. The issues of infrastructure being compromised is also a concern. And as you previously stated, this was signed by 19 homeowners. On a personal note, I feel that 18 feet difference is a substantial variation. It's not just a few inches. 18 feet is fairly substantial. I think many of us might have enjoyed adding 18 feet to our backyard when we were adding garages to our homes, but we followed the zoning bylaws. And bylaws are put in place to protect neighborhoods and not to be changed. So I would be in opposition of the variance.
Okay, thank you for reading that, Val. Just a reminder for those listening that our variance order from 24.6 feet to 6.5 feet is what is before council today. And does anyone else wish to make a presentation on this application?
Deputy Mayor, I am just, maybe I didn't make it very clear before. And I just want to make it clear to those who are listening. The variance is from the fence line. Our fence line is there, and the variance would be that we could build within 6 feet of that fence line on our property. Just to make that a little clearer. Sorry about that.
Okay, thank you, Wayne. Is there anybody else that wishes to make a presentation on this application, either in person or online on the phone?
I would have a question that why is there a frontage zoning bylaw in place? And why would one be allowed to have it changed by 18 feet? If there is a frontage zoning bylaw. I don't know, is that a civil engineering report? I'm not sure.
Okay, thank you for the question. I'll again defer that to the city manager to answer.
So thanks again for the question. So the zoning bylaw does prescribe usual setbacks of buildings from property lines, but there is an allowance in the Planning Act that is called a variance, and that would allow changes on properties so that they can build closer. There is provision in the Planning Act, which all municipalities follow, to allow councils to consider this.
Okay, are there any further questions? Anyone else want to make a presentation? Does council have any questions of the presenter or any questions? Councillor Ehlers.
I just wanted to ask, so I think we have more of a visual reference. How far would this be from the sidewalk? Just so we have a visual appearance of this. I haven't gone out there. I was trying to figure out how far it would be from the sidewalk for the distance. Is anybody able to give me an answer to that?
Deputy Mayor, I could probably speak on that. It would probably be about 10 to 12 feet from the sidewalk.
It's 30 feet from the curb to the edge of this, to the fence.
Okay, it's 30, just I'm getting clarification now. It's 30 feet from the edge of the road to our fence. From our curb to the fence, it's 30 feet. So the sidewalk is in the middle of that 30 feet. So we're probably even
So we're wanting to build
16.
So 36 feet back to the street.
Yeah, it would be 36 feet back from the street, from the curb.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else have any questions? Okay, thank you to those who joined us for this public hearing. And to
Could I
those
just
who
ask when, sorry, could I ask when the decision will be made? And if there is a process to appeal the decision in spite of opposition, if it is to be approved?
yes, thank you for the question. I was just going to mention that, so the public hearing, we will not be making a decision tonight regarding this variance application. Council will deliberate and will carefully consider the application and the process and the responses. And we will be advising the applicant of the decision. Council's decision will be final and is not subject to an appeal.
Deputy Mayor, may I make one more comment, please? And it's not about necessarily about the variance.
Yes, go ahead.
I was going to say that if some of the people in our community, like close to where we are, if they have questions about what we are doing, we are glad to sit down with them and show them what we want to do. And if they have questions, they can certainly ask us. If they gave me a call at Parkland Crossing, I'd be glad to talk to them or have a meeting with a bunch of them and discuss that if they would like.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, so the public hearing is now closed. Moved by Councillor Euler, seconded by Councillor Juba. Be it resolved that council now reconvenes to the regular council meeting. Thank you again for everybody who attended.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. And
Lyle Stockatelli.
Is now exiting.
So moved by Councillor Euler, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Be it resolved that the public
Karen
hearing
Cooley.
for variance
Is now
application
exiting.
12.06.273.600
Val
/
Rizzo.
variation order
Is now exiting.
20-01/03 for owner and applicant Dauphin Church of Christ 2004 Incorporated, care of Richard Kirkpatrick for Lot 2, Plan 42800, DLTO 220 Whitmore Avenue West, Parkland Crossing, to vary the front yard setback to allow for the construction of 2 single-story, 2,520 square foot, 1-bedroom units and 4 single-story, 3,200 square foot, 2-bedroom units in an institutional zone to comply with the City of Dauphin zoning bylaw now be concluded. Questions? Call for questions. Seeing none. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Euler, seconded by Councillor Loughlin. Be it resolved that all items listed under item 5, the consent agenda, be approved as follows and form part of these minutes. There are no action items. Filing items include the Association of Manitoba Municipalities, the Parkland Director's Update of May 2020, the News Bulletin of May 29th, 2020, Member Advisories, COVID-19, Western Financial Group, Insurance Solutions, Frequently Asked Questions, Update Bill to Bills 48 and 49, Manitoba Infrastructure Speed Display Devices, Federal Grade Crossings Compliance and Safety, and additional COVID-19 links, Federation of Canadian Municipalities, FCM Municipal Advocacy, Marvin Plett, FCM Manitoba Board Member, FCM Connect for May 26th, 2020 and June 2nd, 2020, the Municipal Relations Bulletin, Restoring Safe Services Draft Plan for Phase 2, Manitoba Media Releases for COVID-19 Bulletins, Health, Seniors and Active Living, Province appoints Regional Health Authority Board members, Agriculture and Resource Development, Province unveils over $7 million in new Conservation Trust projects, Crown Services, Province opening cannabis market to more retailers, Indigenous and Northern Relations, statement on the anniversary of the final report of the National Inquiry into Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls, Premiers Horrigan, Pallister and Silver, Paid Sick Leave Initiative, Minister of Municipal Relations, Building Sustainable Communities Program Funding, Bill 48 and Bill 49, 2020 Green Team Funding, Mountain View School Division News Digest, May 25th, 2020, Growing Manitoba Ag, June 2020, Prairie Mountain Health Media Advisory, COVID-19 testing sites, Riding Mountain National Park, information update on resumption of services, as recommended by the Deputy Mayor and the City Manager. Moved by Councillor Loughlin, seconded. Sorry. Any questions? Call the question. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Loughlin, seconded by Councillor Eilers. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the following corporate report for the June 8th, 2020 regular Council meeting, that being of the City Manager. City Manager.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Real. It's been a couple weeks since our last meeting, and it is great to actually be in the presence of people again. So thanks everybody for coming, and it's great to have technology so that we can have good participation from people not here. So this is monumental for us. This is great. Over the last couple weeks, I have had some COVID-related meetings, but it feels like overall we are venturing into some of the normal things that we would deal with. But just as a matter of business, I have left the COVID update on my report, just so that we continue talking about it. It is top of mind for a lot of us. So operations at City Hall and the City Shop, Fire Hall, and the water treatment plant are still status quo. City Hall is open for payments, and anybody else who's looking to contact other city employees can give a call first or an email, see if we can get some of that done beforehand, and if there's a need to meet in person, we can do that. We have our committee room set up with a computer system, and we're seeing people kind of on the public side of City Hall. Let me see. So both the staff and visitors to our facilities will see that we are continuing to post and follow the rules as set out by the province regarding physical distancing and facility hygiene. As I mentioned at the beginning, Council has decided to start opening up City Hall so that we can have in-person meetings again. So it's great that we have this hybrid system. We did do a bit of a trial run last week with Council to hold a different meeting with this system, and staff have been troubleshooting a couple, 3-4 times maybe to make sure that we can get this right. And then in terms of some of the other things that I've had going on in the last couple weeks, one is a fleet management. So that would be of our passenger vehicles, or primarily the passenger vehicles. So the Director of Public Works and Operations, Engineering Services Supervisor, Engineering Accountant Clerk, the Director of Finance, and I met with Enterprise Fleet Management. And they're a member of the Association of Manitoba Municipalities, or AMM Trading Company. And it was to further review their fleet management concepts, or what they have available. The AMM Trading Company is a vehicle or a venue that municipalities can use to get group buying prices for many things, and fleet vehicles is one of them. So we listened to their presentation, and then we provided them with our current passenger fleet, the cost to operate them, the initial cost to purchase them, maintenance costs, mileage per year, things like that. And then we're going to be meeting with them actually later this week on Thursday to review the information that they took from us, and then the proposal that they're going to give to us. The city has used the philosophy for many years to get as many good years out of vehicles as possible, and we have mechanics on staff who keep them running really well. However, we are looking forward to reviewing what Enterprise has to propose, and the information that Enterprise proposed in that initial meeting was in line with the city's venture into asset management, and then as well as the sustainability concept and running green vehicles or running newer vehicles with lower emissions and things like that. So I am looking forward to seeing what they have to tell us. In the human resources aspect, I have been working with our labor lawyer over the past couple months regarding membership of the Canadian Union of Public Employees, or CUPE, bargaining units. We've been working through one personnel issue that's resulted in a vacancy at our shop. And so we've posted for another seasonal worker. And we've been working with CUPE to change a job description as it pertains to a utility position. So lots going on there. One of the up and coming businesses in Dauphin, Vermilion Growers, we had a site visit out there. So the mayor, deputy mayor, Councillor Stakilo, our economic development manager, and I participated in a site visit on May 31st. It was interesting to see the project on the ground with some mock-ups of the sizes of the structures and what the greenhouses will actually physically be like on the ground. We heard some of the technology that they plan to use, the public infrastructure that they require that will allow the project to progress, and that is in terms of the available power and natural gas. We heard about the numbers and types of jobs that they're going to be creating in each phase, and the distribution system to get the tomatoes from vine to store. So the city has been advocating to different provincial and federal agencies on behalf of Vermilion growers to help them secure grant funding and to secure infrastructure upgrades. And I will say that any infrastructure upgrades we get to our community would not be solely for the purpose of one company like this, but would be for the benefit of our entire community. If it opens up doors for future growth, that would be fabulous. I'm sure that there's lots of additions to Dauphin's population, but I do have to make special mention. Congratulations to Justin and Stephanie Tokarczuk on the birth of their first baby, Spencer Paul George. He was born June 4th, and I hear that baby and mom and dad are all doing well. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, City Manager. Any questions? Okay, call the question. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Eilers. Be it resolved that Council accepts information the following corporate report for the June 8th, 2020 regular council meeting, that being of the ICT manager. Anybody have any questions?
Just a comment, if I may. Certainly the wonder of having us in this room talking on these mics and having people online and we can hear each other and see each other, I think that's pretty amazing to have all the right cables and buttons and everything pushed. So, I'd like to give a big thank you to our ICT manager, and I know Bill Brenner has also been involved with that, and it's much appreciated that this can work so seamlessly.
Yes, agreed. Thanks, Councillor Bellemare. Anybody else? Any questions? Call the question. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that the finance accounts, having been examined by Council, be hereby authorized and approved as follows. The checks range from 26,581 to 26,619. 39 checks in total, totaling $489,195.24. Just point out just a couple of some of the bigger checks. Check number 26605 for $7,131.57. That's to ABC Fire and Safety. for fire hose and supplies for the fire department. The other one we wanted to highlight is check number 26616 for $332,116. And that's to the Receiver General of Canada for our policing costs from which cover January to March 2020. There are no voided checks in current range. There are no voided checks in the past range. Electronic payments in May 2020, there were 6 electronic payments totaling $234,335.55. Any questions? Call the question. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Councillor Loughlin. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the following protective services reports for the June 8th, 2020 regular council meeting. That of the Animal Control Officer for March 2020 and April of 2020. Does anyone have any questions on those reports? Call the question. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Councillor Loughlin. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the minutes of the following committee. That of the Intermountain Watershed District regular board meeting from May 5th, 2020, and the Conservation Standing Committee of April 15th, 2020. Anybody have any questions? Call the question. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Eilers, whereas at the regular council meeting of April 20th, 2020, Council passed resolution number 2020-238, giving third reading to bylaw 06/2020, amending development plan bylaw 14/2010 prior to receiving ministerial approval in error. And whereas on May 25th, 2020, Council passed resolution number 2020-291, agreeing to further discuss the above mentioned resolution. Be it resolved that Council rescinds resolution number 2020-238 from the April 20th, 2020 Council meeting and forwards bylaw 06/2020 to a future Council meeting for third reading once minister approval is received. Any questions of councillors? Call the question. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Loughlin, whereas the City of Dauphin acquired 119 Main Street North from a tax sale in November 2019 with title change occurring January 7th, 2020. And whereas in May 2020, the city advertised this property for sale with conditions with a closing date of May 29th, 2020, and received 1 proposal. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information correspondence dated May 29th, 2020 from Stephen Sobering with an offer to purchase 119 Main Street North, part lot 12, block 9, plan 243, DLTO for $1,000, indicating his intention to fulfill the required conditions. Further, be it resolved that Council accepts as information a memorandum dated June 4th, 2020 from the Economic Development Manager recommending that Council accept this offer. Further, be it resolved that Council agrees with Economic Development Manager and accepts the offer of $1,000 for the purchase of 119 Main Street North, part lot 12, block 9, plan 243, DLTO with the following conditions. Number 1, property is sold as is. Number 2, The purchase is subject to applicable taxes. Number 3, all legal utility connections and access costs are the responsibility of the purchaser. Number 4, the purchaser must renovate the property to code for a purpose that is permitted in the commercial central zone and acquired an occupancy permit within 24 months of possession, where the purchaser must demolish the structure and rebuild in its place a structure that is a permitted use in the commercial central zone and acquire an occupancy permit within 24 months of possession. Any questions? Councillor Bellemare.
Of course, turn your mic on and start to cough. Is that business, are they in the same building? Because it said something in the notes about the two businesses shared a wall.
Thanks for the question. So there is a CIBC on one side and Embroidery by Design on the other. There is a legal agreement between this property and Embroidery by Design because they do share a common wall. So that is disclosed already to the purchaser, and any renovations need to be done with that in mind. And so there's a the obligation to do it in conjunction with that property owner, make sure it's not done, like it has to be go through building permit and all that proper procedure to get that done.
Any more questions? Councillor Eilers?
I was going, my question is, so the existing wall, is that going to be demolished or restructured, or is it going to remain the same? Because I mean, I'm thinking that building's been now for quite a while, so there would be a different fire code than 30 years ago. So is this being addressed?
Another good question. So it will be up to the purchaser to work through the process to make sure that the code is brought up to that it's brought up to code. It does not necessarily have to be demolished and rebuilt. It could probably be restructured or more fire rated protection if that's something that needs to be addressed. But it'll have to be renovated or rebuilt to today's standard. But the common wall, that's really up for the engineer to decide what's the right solution to fix that, just so that the neighboring business is not without a wall for any period of time.
Or compromise, because I just feel that, and I'm just thinking of myself, if I would want to make sure that there was a fire barrier, just because you've got two businesses, and so you're kind of relying on them, and I'm sure that our building inspector will ensure that's in place, as well as, I guess, the contractor.
Yeah, and because there is a legal agreement on that property, like a caveat on the title, that must happen.
Any more questions? Call the question. All in favor? Motion carried. Okay, so now we're to the end of our meeting and councillor privileges. We'll start with Councillor Laughlin.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. Back on May the 25th, I attended the regular meeting online through Microsoft Teams for Council. Last week, June the 3rd, attended the first strategic planning session at the Council Chambers. Special thanks to Brian Baker, our Economic Development Manager, for guiding us through that one. I'm looking forward to working on my homework a little later this week. And Councillor Bellemare actually mentioned it earlier. I do want to send out that big thank you to Justin, Bill, Ember, and of course Brian as well here at City Hall for helping make these hybrid meetings a success. Obviously watching here tonight, the strategic planning meeting, and going forward, I'm sure there's some tweaking to be done, but again, thanks very much for doing that. It's been a great process to go through, and just looking forward to moving forward with it as we go on. And my last little mention, congratulations to the Deputy Mayor for running her first meeting tonight, and that does it for my report.
Thank you, Councillor Laughlin. online there, Councillor Sticalo.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. For myself, May 25th regular council meeting. June 3rd, I also attended the strategic planning session. As most are aware, the city is currently working on drafting a strategic plan that will guide our focuses and efforts over the next 5+ years. The hope is to create a roadmap with clearly defined objectives, goals, and measurable outcomes, all while being fiscally responsible to the ratepayers of the city. The intent is to make this a tool that is used throughout the year, especially at budget time, to plan upcoming projects, and not meant to be a document that sits on the shelf. Thanks to Brian and Ember for getting the workshop prepared, as well as to Justin, and probably a thanks to Bill as well for the technology component of that meeting. I'm glad we were able to accomplish as much as we did with a mix of in-person representation as well as remote participation. On May 29th, I was able to attend the Vermilion Growers site visit. It was nice to get a firsthand knowledge of the status and progress to date of Vermilion Growers. The group is working hard despite setbacks to COVID, but once phase 1 is complete and operational, this facility will have big impacts on our local and regional economy. Hats off to all those involved, and I wish them success moving forward. On June 5th, I attended a presentation or a rally by the Dauphin chapter of the Citizens Climate Lobby to recognize World Environment Day. The group's intent of this rally was to, 1, draw public attention to the ongoing and urgent need for climate action, 2, to show their support for City Council and encourage City Council to include climate mitigation and adaptation strategies in our strategic planning, and 3, to act in solidarity with thousands of students, strikers around the globe who are part of the Fridays for Future movement and who dedicate time and energy to every Friday to draw attention to their leaders on the climate crisis. I certainly encourage the group to continue their efforts and to keep engaging with the City of Dauphin and its residents. That does it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Sticalo. Councillor Eilers.
Thank you. On May 25th, too, I attended the City Council meeting by Microsoft Meetings, of course, virtual. On June 3rd, there was also another CMNCP Zoom meeting with dealing with public safety. Later on, I attended the strategic planning and city planning. This was a hybrid meeting, and it was well done. We're looking at, I guess it really sums up looking at where we are and where we're going, and I think that's really important that that we have that in our planning and looking ahead. Also, was involved with delivery of meals for Mackenzie School, and our Deputy Mayor Real was involved in getting us all organized. And I think this was a really valuable program, and I really want to give my heartfelt thanks to all the volunteers for providing this program. Those who prepared the meals and those who delivered was very much appreciated. And I continue to work on garden projects, and I'd like to also congratulate Justin, our IT guy, and Stephanie Tokarczyk for the birth of their son Spencer. Very exciting. Again, added, like I mentioned before, adding to the population. And I'd also like to offer my condolences to Peggy Allen's family on her passing. She was a very kind and gracious lady, and very involved in a lot of community events. And I guess the rain was very welcomed. I know my plants are really happy that this is coming, and it's starting to rain again. So this should help us, our farmers, as well as all our gardens that we have going. And that ends my report.
Thank you, Councillor Eilers. Councillor Juba.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. My report goes back to May 25th. I attended a regular council meeting via Microsoft Media. On May 26th, I had to pass my regrets to a subcommittee of the Dauphin Regional Airport Authority. There was a subcommittee regarding AVOP, and I'm sure Charlotte and the rest of the airport authority will report on that policy development and procedure as it's being developed. June the 3rd, I with the rest of the City Council, attended the strategic planning session at City Hall. Tonight, I decided to try the hybrid version of the meeting, and I see that it's going well. So, as aforementioned by the rest of the council, thank you to all those that are making that possible. On June the 5th, I also attended at Dauphin City Hall outside to proclaim this day as World Environment Day. Thank you to the members of the Dauphin chapter of Citizens Climate Lobby Canada who organized this event. And yeah, it was well attended. It was very educational for me. And yes, we on a go forward basis, those issues that were presented are very important to our community. June the 6th was International Trails Day. And I made a pledge to Steve Sobering and to everybody else that was at the presentation on Friday that I will get out to those trails this summer. So watch out for some pictures on Facebook as I tackle those trails. I want to send a congratulations to Donna Davidson and Brad Collette, who joined the Prairie Mountain Health Board of Directors. They'll be both valued members of that committee and on a go-forward basis. And as Councillor Eilers mentioned, I want to also pass condolences to, I actually have a few of them today, to the Allen family on the loss of Peggy Allen. Want to mention condolences to Orville Harris's family. He was a former firefighter for a number of years, and he was a resident of the Dauphin Bristol Care Home, and he will be missed by all. And also condolences to the Toderick family and the loss of Ollie Bond. And Ollie Bond was a co-worker of mine at Sneed Strochar Funeral Services, and we worked together for many years. And she also was a former resident, or is now a former resident of the personal care home. And I just want to send out a personal condolence to Fire Chief Cam Avery. His brother Gerald passed away earlier this week. Gerald Avery and I knew each other right from the youngsters, so the loss is felt, but I just want to pass my personal condolences on to Cam and his family. So that ends my report.
Thank you, Councillor Juba. Councillor Bellemare.
Thank you. When you go at the end, everyone's mentioned a lot of stuff. But on June 3rd, I attended the afternoon working meeting to begin developing the city strategic plan that was mentioned. And people didn't mention that we're working on our mission statement and our vision and our guiding principles, in addition to all the other stuff that people mentioned. One thing that was really neat about this is that in talking with people around town, they're going, "Oh yeah, we hear that you're doing it. That's so neat." And I'm going, really? You know, I was just impressed that people cared that this is what we're doing. So that, yeah, so that just makes the whole thing more valuable. We already knew it was valuable, but our townspeople are also seeing that. May 29th, I took part in the site tour of the Vermilion growers, and it was helpful to walk the property and to see the scope and scale of their plans, and plus being able to ask questions. The people behind this project have put lots of planning and money into it so far. There's work going on behind the scenes as well as on site. For the last 2 Wednesdays, I've been part of the Mackenzie School program, delivering food to several families who have children attending this school, and people have really appreciated receiving this food. I too attended World Environment Day on June the 5th, the gathering outside City Hall, which I learned is called the City Hall Courtyard. I didn't know what that was called, but so we now know that's what the name is. And the Citizens Climate Group put a lot of energy into planning that event, and it was really great to to participate. Their goal was to raise awareness about what needs to be done and what we can do to help, and they were very effective in doing that. By the way, they have a Facebook page, so you can check for more information, and their Facebook page is CCL-Dauphin, so Citizens Climate Lobby-Dauphin. And I also want to mention that there's been some changes in the provincial government regulations surrounding schools. So there is now going to be a grad ceremony on June 20th, but it's going to be very different from other years, of course. And but students are really excited about it. So each student will have like a private grad ceremony where they will get their diploma and any awards and that sort of thing, and have an opportunity to take some photos on the stage. And then once all the grads have received their diplomas, there will be a parade in town. So watch for the parade, honk your horn, and join in the celebration of this milestone for this special group of people in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bellemare. For myself, May 25th, I attended the regular council meeting by Teams. June 3rd, I also attended the strategic plan meeting here at City Hall. I attended in person. And one thing that was evident to me was the interest, the passion and dedication of both city staff and all members of council. And it was really great to be part of a passionate, cohesive group. I really enjoyed it, and thank you again to echo everyone's sentiments of the hybrid, how we made it happen. It wasn't easy, but thank you again to everybody that made that possible. June 5th, I also attended World Environment Rally at the courtyard here at City Hall. And as we were singing in it, I was standing by the sidewalk. It became evident with the loud mufflers, I couldn't hear the singing, that it was certainly timely. So kudos to that group for their efforts. And I understand they'll be making a delegation at our June 22nd meeting here at City Hall. So looking forward to hearing more from them. And just want to thank Councillor Eilers, Councillor Bellemare, and our mayor for helping serve the meals Wednesdays and Fridays at Mackenzie. It meant a lot to the staff to have council involved. And so again, thank you to those people who made that happen. And that here ends my report. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Councillor Sticalo. Be it resolved that the council meeting be recessed at, we'll say, 6 o'clock.